when the founding fathers signed the Declaration of Independence, it is well known that the United States was given a natal chart quite intentionally.
Yeah.
Because these were esoteric men. They were highly educated in esoteric arts. Benjamin Franklin was very open about the fact that he was an astrologer. This was not a point of shame for him. It was nothing he had to hide. They believed in God and they used astrology. This was a very different paradigm from the one that we've been kind of conditioned to believe in today. They were very religious men. Whether or not we can relate to that in this time or not is not important. But they chose the US natal chart to be something that was really, really powerful, very magical. Everything was intentional about that date. But they didn't know anything about Pluto back then. They had no idea.
Oh, right.
So, and what Pluto represents is this aspect of the unconscious. It represents what lays down beneath the surface, the realm of Hades, the unconscious mind or the underworld. So the stuff that none of us are aware of. And so when you look at the natal chart of the US now, you're like, oh my God, it's this perfect natal chart. It's so beautiful. It's meant to create the soul of a country that is going to be prosperous and generous and warm and philosophical and brilliant and inventive, all of these wonderful things that the United States actually is. But you also see Pluto in Capricorn opposite the sun in Cancer, because the US is a Cancer, FYI, everybody. It's that oasis. It's that, give me, you're hungry and you're sick, all of that idea of bringing people from around the world to find sanctuary here is very Cancerian, it's very lovely. But Pluto in Capricorn is opposite, and it sort of hides there in the chart, unbeknownst to these people back in the 18th century. And what that represents is the imperial shadow that was in the unconscious. And we all know how scary it is when something like that is completely below the surface and unknown to even an individual. So when you have hatred in your heart or trauma in your body that you are unaware of, it's very dangerous, because you can snap and become a different person. You can be triggered and lose your mind. This is what PTSD is. When you haven't processed the darkness, when you haven't faced the shadow, when you haven't metabolized whatever it is you've been through, you can be prone to violence. You could be prone to illness. You could be prone to all kinds of things that are not integrated. And so the United States has this dark imperial shadow. And one thing I will say about the history of the US, and this is definitely affecting the rest of the world, and that's why I keep bringing it up, because it is something that's rippling out to the rest of the world. But when the Declaration of Independence was signed, Pluto was in Capricorn. But at the end of Capricorn, the Revolutionary War wasn't won until many years later. And George Washington had soldiers that were barefoot. It seemed very desperate, and they had no food, but nevertheless, they still won the war. But that happened when Pluto was in Aquarius. So that period of time comes up. We're going to get a taste of it next year in 2023, and then it's going to be a full-fledged influence starting in 24. That whole period of time can represent a tremendous amount of opportunity for common people, which is what Aquarius is really concerned with, to achieve a lot more of their rights, and their voice will become more powerful and their needs will be more easily met. So we do have a lot of good coming in terms of just looking at what Pluto in Aquarius represents versus Pluto in Capricorn. It's not to say that it's utopia. I don't mean to oversimplify it, but there is a lot more to look forward to.